Getting your
A very good evening to you. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's a beautiful night that we're going to spend together right here on BRTV channel 102 on your choice decoder TSTV. We're so delighted to have you tonight on the show. And as usual, this is where we discuss people, economy, politics, and governance. Let's take a look at some of the newspaper headlines making the rounds tonight on the show. And we're starting off with the Punch newspaper. And this one has it from the Punch. Nobody can force Ayu to resign. That's coming from the Punch newspaper. Nobody can force Ayu to resign. We have a report there that the People's Democratic Party presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar on Wednesday said no party member can force the PDP's national chairman, Iyorchia Ayu, to resign. This is coming hours after the crisis rocking the PDP deepened on Wednesday, as Governor Nyesom Wike's team pulled out of Atiku's campaign council. The members announced that their decision to pull out of the council following meetings early on Wednesday morning in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital. They insisted that the PDP national chairman must resign for them to rescind their decision. But reacting to the pro-Wike group request, the former vice president maintained that the sole decision is for Ayu to take, adding that no one can force the PDP chairman to resign. And from Ebonyi State, we have this one, senatorial ticket. I await appeal court judgment, Omai's challenger. From the Punch newspaper, we have this one, senatorial ticket. I await appeal court judgment, Omai's challenger rather. A factional senatorial candidate of the All Progressives Congress for Ebonyi South, Mrs. Ann Agom Eze, said she reposes confidence in the court to do justice in the matter between her and Ebonyi State Governor David Umahi. She awaits appeal court judgment on the matter. Agom Eze and Umahi have been in the appeal court, Abuja, to ascertain the authentic candidate of the APC for the Ebonyi South Zone. Umahi met the final list of candidates for the 2023 senatorial election for the zone released by the Independent National Electoral Commission after he was earlier omitted from the list of candidates released in June following a controversy which trailed his emergence as the candidate of the ruling party. And moving ahead now, from the Vanguard newspaper, we have this one. Ayu's resignation. A Southwest Forum backs Wike, Makinde, others. Ayu's resignation. A Southwest Forum backs Wike, Makinde, others. We have that report from the Vanguard newspaper, and a group of Southwest Forum of People's Democratic Party, PDP, stakeholders for justice on Wednesday reiterated its support for Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State and others sympathetic to his cause, that the national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Senator Iyorchia Ayu, should resign. In a statement by the former publicity secretary of Ondo and Lagos State, Mrs. Banji Okunomo and Tofik Gani, the forum said Ayu's resignation will bring about confidence, inclusiveness, and oneness in the party. We'll go for a short break now. When we come back, we'll take more on the show. Stay with us.
Getting your TSTV decoder just got easier. Simply log on to www.tstVafrica.shop. Select any item of your choice by clicking on Add to Cart. Click on Proceed to check out to make payment. For new users, fill in the required billing details. Check the website terms and condition box to agree. Click on Place Order. Click on Make Payments. On the payment page, fill in your card details. Confirm the amount and click Pay. You can also pay via USSD, bank transfer, and other payment platforms. Order your TSTV decoder now and get it delivered to your doorstep. TSTV, connecting your world.
The pain of war knows no tribe or religion. War engulfs everyone, rich or poor. Homes are destroyed, emptied by the darkness of war. During war, everybody loses, nobody wins. The innocent pays the price of our ego with their blood. They are badly affected by a decision they didn't make. Dialogue is the only way out. We are stronger together. We should never separate. We are one Nigeria. Our oneness, our strength, our beauty.
This message is brought to you by Bright TV, the home of talk and entertainment, channel 102 on TSTV Africa. Say no to war.
Hello, welcome to Let's Talk. My name is Blessing Omwa Imuzi. With me is my co-host.
This Prince Marajemo Allen.
Of whatever the situation is, there's no justification
for
violence.
Okay.
And so there's some women, we've had situations where the women
that first impression, a narcissist have that first impression.
So
Thank you for rejoining us on the program. In case you've just joined us, we bring you a recap of the news headlines that we've been sharing with you. We brought you a report earlier from the Punch newspaper. This one says, nobody can force Ayu to resign, says Atiku. We brought you that report. And this one is the Vanguard newspaper, having it that Ayu's resignation. Southwest Forum backs Wike, Makinde, others. A Southwest Forum of PDP stakeholders for justice on Wednesday reiterated its support for Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State and others sympathetic to his cause that the national chairman of the People's Democratic Party PDP, Senator Iyorchia Ayu, should resign. In a statement by the former Publicity Secretary of Ondo and Lagos State, Mrs. Abanji Okunomo and Tofik Gani, the forum said Ayu's resignation will bring about confidence, inclusiveness, and oneness in the party. And moving ahead, still with the Vanguard newspaper, we have this one. We'll meet to deliberate on court ruling. ASU. We'll meet to deliberate on court ruling. ASU. We'll give you all of the details of that. And of course, our federal government to leave behind a 60.9 trillion naira debt over liabilities in 2023. That's according to the Guardian newspaper. The federal government's total debt and contingent liabilities have hit 60.9 trillion naira, even as the figure could balloon to near 65 trillion naira before the end of the year, as President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration scrambles for any available funds to survive the current financial squeeze before its expiration in May next year. And still in politics, we have this one, a sad one from the Guardian newspaper. Lawan loses out as Akpabio Umahi make INEC's final list. Lawan loses out as Akpabio Umahi makes INEC's final list. And for the big story tonight, we have a report that INEC's final list has been released by the Independent National Electoral Commission. The general election will be conducted for presidential, national, and state constituencies as well as the governorship. But the list covered only the federal positions. We'll bring you all of these on the big story. Let me quickly welcome the former aide to President Muhammadu Buhari, a public affairs analyst and academician, and of course, the former chairman on the public property issues as it pertains to the federal government. Let me quickly welcome our regular in-house guest talking about Chief Okoy Obono Obla. It's my pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you. Nice to see you again.
You look more refreshed, like you had a lot of vegetable soup in Cross River.
You know, the part of the country we come from, we eat very good food, as you said, vegetables. So I ate a lot of afang, edika kong, and so forth and so on.
And then the festival.
Yes, and the festival.
The yam festival.
Sure. So we have new yams now. And, so we have been enjoying a lot of pounded yam.
Okay, we'll come back for Chief Okoy Obono Obla on the show. Stay with us. The phone numbers are there, 0907-177-1985. You can also be part of the program. And as well, we shall be joining Fidel Onyeneke on the program, who will be giving us some of the analysis on the other side. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll give you more on the show. We'll be right back. Thank you for joining us on the BRTV channel 102. This is Nigeria Watch. Laws of the land. The fact that my friends abroad have to send money to support me.
they can afford to pay the few individuals coming out to vote, and then by that simple majority they've won. And that's not necessary.
Thank you and welcome back to the show. This is where we go straight to the big story and, of course, the analysis. Let's remind you that the general elections will be conducted for presidential, national, and state constituencies as well as the governorship. But the 2023 INEC list is probably covering only the federal positions. So we bring you this big story from the Guardian report, which we've just told you. We have Chief Okoye Bonobla do justice to this big story by letting us have some insight, like the case of Ebonyi, where we have Anne Egwom. She's gone for, she's still expecting, perhaps awaiting appeal court judgment, even though at the moment the governor of Ebonyi State is said to have met the list. We also have the likes of Governor Akpabio of Akwa Ibom. They also made the list. Let's take a critical analysis of the INEC 23 list. It seems to be that INEC is right on point, if you ask me.
Why not? It's in conformity with the provisions of Section 29, sub 1 of the Electoral Act 2022. Yeah. That that law says that, or the provision says that, the political parties, they are obligated to forward a list of their candidates and their personal particulars, not later than 180 days to the dates where when notice of the election was issued. Okay. And then they have to forward it to INEC. So, like, it's an obligation that has to be, you know, done. Yeah. So that is what INEC has done. You know, that, and where a political party, you know, doesn't comply with the request of INEC, then INEC is right to publish the final list without that, you know, candidates for that political party. You remember, INEC asks parties upload.
Okay, so to upload their candidate.
Exactly, upload all the names and personal particulars of your candidates to INEC server. Okay. Yes. So if where a political party defaults in forwarding the names and personal particulars of the candidate, then INEC can exclude that candidate's name or the political party's candidates. Okay. And we have heard a lot of stories about candidates not finding their names. Okay. There's a particular one in my federal constituency. His name is completely not there. You know. So
okay, let's take a look at that critically. To say the primary election was held. Yes. And the party went home, and everybody perhaps announced the name of the winner. Yes, but at the time.
You know the law, the Electoral Act, empowers INEC to refuse, you know, to accept a list or containing candidates who did not emerge through a validly conducted primary election.
What makes a validly conducted election when you have INEC supervise the
No, INEC doesn't supervise the primary election. Okay. INEC monitor. Okay. Monitoring is different from supervision. Okay. Because if you are supervising, that means you are a conductor. Okay. INEC is not a conductor. INEC is to monitor, to ensure that all the the guidelines of that political party, the guidelines of INEC and the provisions of the Electoral Act are complied with by a political party. Okay. Yes.
Okay, let's also take a look at some of the issues one might be talking about, like the issues that are still in court.
Yes.
Where you still have a candidate has to pursue the matter up to the appeal court.
Yeah, but that wouldn't stop.
And then the INEC has already issued the
notice. That wouldn't stop INEC from, carrying out its mandate as provided by the law. Okay, except there is a court injunction saying, look, don't accept any list from, in respect of a particular candidate, then INEC is bound to comply. But if there is no order, INEC is duty bound to carry out what the law says. Because if the INEC doesn't do that, then the whole election, the conduct of the election will be affected, and we may end up not having an election in the country. I know that will result in a constitutional crisis in the country. Oh. So INEC has not done anything. As long as the matter is in court, yes, fine. The court eventually will deliver a judgment. If the court delivers a judgment and says candidate B, whose name was submitted to us or to INEC, is not the right candidate, then INEC is bound to comply with that order and remove the name of that particular person and substitute, that name with the person who went to court and won.
That seems to be like putting the cart before the horse.
Well,
that drags down our...
There is a provision in the Electoral Act that says an injunction cannot restrain INEC from conducting the election, or even to restrain a political party from conducting its nomination processes. So that is clearly in the Electoral Act.
Okay, at what point do we now brainstorming to say the party chairman had uploaded the names of the supposed candidate A, and then you have a point like in Akwa Ibom where it all happened, we all saw it clearly.
Even in Cross River, as I said, a candidate from my federal constituency, his name was not there. And it may be that the political party didn't do the right thing.
Okay.
Yes. So that because I remember I read in the media about 1 month ago, political party, INEC was calling on political parties to comply with its request that upload the names of their candidate to our server. Okay. So if when a political party neglects to do that, then you don't blame INEC, okay? Because clearly the political party has a responsibility. A lot of places on the political party, the body, the responsibility of doing that, carrying out that exercise.
So are we not supposed to conclude all of these pre-election matters before a list is finally
no. If you say,
and what does the law say about all of this? Because it looks like the law is blind to certain irregularities.
The law cannot capture all circumstances. Okay, if there is a gap through the implementation of the law, okay, like if they see a gap, then the National Assembly has to amend that law in the next election that is coming up in 2007. Okay. So, but for now, this law is a new law. We have to test it. We have to see judgments from the court concerning the law, so that if there is any gap, the next National Assembly will take care of that and amend the law. But I have not seen anything wrong. As I said, if you say all pre-election matters should be concluded before we have election, then we may end up not having an election. You cannot, INEC cannot control, how the cases are held, except there is a law saying that, a pre-election matter must not last more than 2 months. But there's a law now saying that we're giving, the court 180 days to hear all pre-election matters. So within 180 days, that's about 6 months. It's enough time for the court to give expeditious hearing, to all these cases, pre-election matters. But I can assure you that that will take us to the election, proper.
Okay, in case you've just joined us, we're speaking with Chief Okoy Obono Obla, and we are taking a look at the 2023 INEC's final list of gubernatorial and Federal House of National Assembly candidates of each of the political parties. We'll go for a short break now. When we come back, we'll open the phone lines and we'll also take deliberations from Fidel Onyeneke, who is standing by to talk with us. We'll also take a look at some of the newspaper headlines. Recall, we had told you that nobody can force Ayu to resign, says Atiku. That's from the Punch newspaper. We'll take a critical look at these issues when we return. Stay with us. Thank you for joining us. Laws of the land, the fact that my friends abroad have to send money to support me.
By now, they can afford to pay the few individuals coming out to vote, and then by that simple majority they've won, and that's not necessary.
Getting your TSTV decoder just got easier. Simply log on to
Democratic Party PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar on Wednesday said no party member can force the PDP's national chairman Iyorchia Ayu to resign. This is coming hours after the crisis rocking the PDP deepened on Wednesday as Governor Nyesom Wike's team pulled out of Atiku's campaign council. I'm being joined now by Fidel Onyeneke on the program. Fidel, there seems to be no light even at the end of the PDP's tunnel.
It is really unfortunate. Very unfortunate because all the people who are supposed to be loyalists, who are supposed to be fathers of the party, who are supposed to be movers and shakers of PDP, are even working towards the destruction of that party. I am saying this with all responsibility because this is not the time for them to continue with fight and the other thinkers. One had expected them by now to have put their house in order. If you have mounted pressure and the national chairman of the party has said that he's not going to resign, yes, you have done your thing. You have made your statement. People now know that you are aggrieved and so on. And there are various efforts to reconcile the party. But when you continue to insist that this problem must be aggravated at this particular time, few days to the commencement of electionary campaigns, and when you are going into election, a very crucial election, you are talking of pulling out from your presidential candidates. Those who are pulling out, they don't mean well for the party, because definitely whether we like it or not, it's not going to occur well for PDP. All these actions are not in the interest of the party. But they should rethink if they really want Nigerians to believe that they have a party which they want to win elections. You don't go into elections with crisis, and you don't go into elections where you are not in unity and the unity. So it is a very terrible situation. They have to do something because all of them should rethink. That is the only way that party can survive.
Okay, Fidel, let's take a look at the long list of PDP chieftains who have pulled out of Atiku's campaign council to perhaps weigh their pedigree and come to conclusion if actually their pulling out will affect the PDP campaign council in any way in terms of strategy and precision. Let's take a look at the Rivers State Governor, Nyesom Wike, one who's highly spirited and has supported the party for a very long time, which is the basis of his argument to say he put in all of his energy to survive and revive the party to the level that it is now. What would you have to say? But just before you say that, let me also take you to Oyo State Governor, Seyi Makinde, who recently also took a part and also received the PDP presidential candidate Atiku just a fortnight ago. And then you now talk about the Benue State Governor Samuel Otom, who's been very controversial in a way, but also very consistent in his attribute in terms of being very supportive of the People's Democratic Party. Governor Samuel Otom, we spoke about there. And we also talk about Okezie Ikpeazu, the governor of Abia State. You also talk about Enugu State Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi is also behind Nyesom Wike. He also pulled out of the council. You talk about the ex-Plateau State Governor, John Ajang. You talk about the ex-Gombe State Governor, Ibrahim Dankwambo. You talk about the former governor of Ekiti State, Ayo Fayose. You also talk about the former Ondo State Governor, Olusegun Mimiko. And then you also talk about former Cross River State Governor, Donald Duke. And of course, Bode George of Lagos. In 60 seconds, what do you make of the pedigree of these individuals?
These are all big wigs. And they are big wigs too in the People's Democratic Party. So they are stretched to pull out, or if they have pulled out and they have even quit, it's a very big blow to the People's Democratic Party. Remember that these are governors who have supporters. Because whether you like it or not, every governor has overwhelming supporters. Because that is the truth. And they are coming from states where PDP is predominant. Talk of River State, we are talking of Enugu, we are talking of Abia. No other political party has ruled that they are different from PDP. Enugu State, same thing. So that they are pulled out from the campaign of Atiku simply means that they don't want Atiku to succeed. But it is not in the interest of the party because, you see, one thing is that if you are a party member, you must be a loyalist. And if you are a loyal member of the political party, you should not, because of an individual, destroy the house that you have built. What of that is your political party and not individuals who are trying to do one of the things. That is why you won't have the spirit of reconciliation. Because anything you are doing now, you are destroying the political party, not the individual that you think that you are fighting. Talk about Otom. Otom is somebody who was convinced to leave APC for PDP. And not that I disagree. This guy is not talking. If you don't talk to him very well, it means that most of his supporters look, I want you to leave PDP. They will not follow him. Because when he decamped for PDP, as a governor, he had a lot of followers. And as an incoming governor now, they will not follow him wherever he goes to. These are people who can override some voters to vote for this particular person or don't vote for this particular person. So I think the presidency at Atiku and the governor and the Senator Ayu and other key members of PDP should go the extra mile of thinking of what to do. I appreciate the fact that they have been going for reconciliation, extending hands of fellowship to these people, appealing to them and so on. But since all these things fail on safe ears, it means that the party is out for danger. And this is not the right time for the party to face this particular problem because they will just play into the hands of other major save the party between now and the next few days.
Thank you. Thank you.
The party is in danger now.
Thank you. Thank you, Fidel. We'll rejoin you in a moment after this break. Stay with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you and welcome back. In case you've just joined us, this is your evening tonic, talking about the Nigeria Watch, where we discuss people, economy, politics, and governance. We have Chief Okoy Obla, a lawyer and a former aide to President Muhammadu Buhari. He is in the building where we talk about the 2023 general elections, INEC's final list, and of course more on the issue. And Chief Okoy, one would have expected the PDP to have been a stronger opposition, but it seems the Labour Party is taking the shine. How is all of these beneficial to other political parties, especially the ruling All Progressives Congress? Look at what is happening in the People's Democratic Party. One would have expected a unified team to match all of this. Who is against the PDP? Is it APC or the Labour Party?
PDP is fractured beyond repairs, because in the first place they shot themselves by not complying with their constitution, particularly the provisions of their constitution that says power shift, power rotation between north and south.
Okay.
Article merely used his connections, his money power, and so forth and so on. Desperation to snatch the ticket. We should have a southern candidate.
When you say snatch, he actually contested and stood at the primary.
Well, he did. But I expect him as a statesman. He has been the vice president of this country for 8 years. He is one of the founders of, PDP. I expect him to show statesmanship, patriotism, even though he is very strong in PDP for obvious reasons. Are you saying he should have backed down? Exactly. Exactly.
But we know that political position is not a meat pie.
It is not a meat pie. It is not a meat pie. Yeah. That is why sometimes in politics you have to concede, even though if you are stronger than the other candidate or the other party. I expect Atiku to concede to the South, okay? Because he was part of the drafters of the PDP constitution, who in 1999 who appreciate the fact that in our level of political evolution, you know all these things about rotation, power shift, and so forth and so on, where somebody comes from will come into play. But I believe maybe in the next 50 years, when the country democracy matures, nobody will talk about where somebody comes from. So based on that principle, I expect him to concede, to the South. He didn't do that. He muzzled his way. He caused Tambuwala to step down for him, and because of that, he defeated Wike. And then Wike is bitter. He has been financing this party.
But one expected Wike to also concede, like you said, for the peace and stability of the party going to the war.
Atiku should have conceded, to at least in answer to the agitation of the people
of the South.
Okay. And the governors from southern Nigeria bet and said, look, they are not going to compromise on power shifts to the South. So I expect Atiku to do the same, concede. APC has conceded.
And he should have supported Wike.
Exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes. And to hustle to injury, Dr. Iyoshe Ayu, the national chairman, he taught me University of Jos. In those days his classes used to be a center of attraction because he was a Marxian. Yeah, and this was in the late 80s, during the period of liberation struggle in Africa. So we students also were more inclined to, people who talk about freedom, from oppression and so forth and so on. So it used his mouth to say that, look, if Atiku emerges, who is from the northern part of the country,
that he's going to step down.
Exactly.
Okay.
And this is what Wike is saying.
And this is what Wike is holding against.
Exactly. And Atiku is supporting it. He's supporting. Ayu says he will not. And then Atiku now is saying that it's a personal decision. What nonsense.
Nobody can force.
Exactly. So that means they are in cahoots with each other. And I heard Governor David Jang, former Governor David Jang of Plateau State, saying this, how you embrace Tabu Wale. Yes, that means that they were working together. So that is why the people, some people in the PDP are very angry, and it's not only people from the southern Nigeria. Some people from northern Nigeria too, like David Jang.
So let's say that your party, the All Progressives Congress, they are openly waiting for
we are going to take advantage, and hit PDP with a sledgehammer, because they are already in confusion, and you don't expect a party that is in confusion to take over government from us. It's not going to work. They have not put their house in order, and we are going to deal with them seriously. And we are happy that this thing is happening, because they are not honest people. They are not honest people. They don't mean well for this country.
What do you mean by honest? You also have people in APC who are not also honest.
Well,
you cannot conclude that they are not honest.
They are not honest. And you just allow me to lie.
Go ahead.
If you have a constitution,
yes,
the constitution is what regulates the conduct of a political party. You have rules, and then suddenly you don't want to obey the rules. That is dishonesty of the highest degree. But what would they comply with?
Talking about honesty, one would have also expected the All Progressives Congress to have honestly allowed the people of the Southeast to have a bite of the ticket of the All Progressives Congress. You had Governor Ocho Sokorota, you have the former Minister of Education, who was also in the primary. But
I am one of the writers of the APC Constitution.
Okay.
Okay, I was the secretary of the committee that did the final draft, and Amade was to produce a clean copy. The chairman of the committee was Barrister James Osholi, SAN, of blessed memory. He was the Minister of State Labour, and I was the secretary. In the APC Constitution, there is no provision for rotation between North and South. Okay?
But by gentleman arrangement.
Yeah, but by gentleman arrangement, we all agreed when President Buhari was contesting in 2015 that the presidency or the ticket should go to the North. So based on that, they considered the ticket to the South. There is no provision for micro-zoning to North, South, West, South, South, and Southeast. Okay? So you don't blame APC. The Southeast simply failed to put its house in order, okay, because there was no micro-zoning. If there was micro-zoning, fine, but there's nothing like that, because we have to follow the precedent that was laid in 2015. There was no micro-zoning to North Central, to Northwest, or Northeast. So you can't blame that on the APC. I expect them to put their house in order, maybe step down and allow one person to confront Bola Tinubu.
Okay,
they do that.
In case you've just joined us, this is Nigeria Watch. Chief Okoy Obono Obla is in the building. We brought you a report. Let's give you a recap of some of the stories we've been taking a look at tonight. We told you that nobody can force Ayu to resign, as says a PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar. And in Ebonyi State, a senatorial ticket, I await appeal court judgment. Umai's challenger. Ayu's resignation, Southwest Forum backs Wike, Makinde, others. Still from the Vanguard newspaper, top story, we'll meet to deliberate on court ruling ASU. Federal government to leave behind 60.9 trillion naira debt, other liabilities in 2023. And still from The Guardian, 2023, INEC releases a final list of candidates. We'll take a look at all of these when we return on the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Getting your TSTV decoder just got easier. Simply log on to www.tstvafrica.shop. Select any item of your choice by clicking on Add to Cart. Click on Proceed to check out to make payment. For new users, fill in the required billing details. Check the website terms and condition box to agree. Click on Place Order. Click on Make Payments. On the payment page, fill in your card details. Confirm the amount and click Pay. You can also pay via USSD, bank transfer and other payment platforms. Order your TSTV decoder now and get it delivered to your doorstep. TSTV, connecting your world.
Thank you for rejoining us on the program, and we're still moving ahead. Let's take a little bit to take a look at update on ASU strike. Of course, we had a report that the court had made a judgment that ASU lecturers should return back to classes. But the report we're having from Vanguard at this point says that we'll meet to deliberate on court ruling. ASU had posited that they're going to meet to deliberate on a court ruling. Let me talk with Fidel Onyeneke. At the time we thought all of this is going to end, it seems ASU is going for an appeal on this matter. What's the expectation? Fidel.
Honestly speaking, I have been one of those who feel that ASU should go back to work while negotiation continues. And at the same time, that the federal government should be very serious in making sure that they keep to a good percentage of the agreement as requested by ASU. Now that the industrial court has given this ruling, it is giving ASU a clear opportunity to at least go back to work while negotiation continues. A situation where ASU now decides to appeal against this judgment, I don't think it's going to be the best. It simply means that they don't really mean well for the students and for the country. Because I was thinking that ASU should be worried. Probably when two elephants fight, that's why they come in. And they will say that, look, we can't just succumb. Let it not look as if we started something and we just stop it. But with the court ruling, they have every reason now to at least withdraw, tactically withdraw, and they continue with their job while negotiation continues. But the important thing is that I expect the court to also make it very fair that the federal government must meet a good percentage of the demands of ASU in the interest of peace and the interest of the students. And if ASU says that they are going to deliberate on the judgment, well, that's okay. But for them thinking of going for an appeal or trying to appeal against the judgment, it might make them lose the support.
Okay.
Majority of the members of the party.
Okay, Fidel, for the want of time, our federal government to leave behind 60.9 trillion debt other liabilities in 2023. Research shows that the federal government debt obligation stood at 37.7 trillion as of June. The amount does not include the central bank's A lingering overdraft estimated at 20.6 trillion. Does it mean President Muhammadu Buhari is going to leave an empty pocket for the next government in 2023? We are scared.
It is something close to that, and it is not good. That is why I keep on whether we really have economic advisors and economists who are really showing interest and they are fighting the government and this government appropriately. If the governor, if the president lives with this type of empty treasury and so on, I don't think it's good. And the incoming administration will just suffer. So if there's anything that can be done, I'm not saying that they should go and obtain loans or anything, because the ones already obtained, they can't pay back. So the high level of indebtedness everywhere. But something must be done. Let the president gather economists. Let them advise him on what to do, because living an empty treasury is not the best for the nation.
Thank you so much, Fidel, for your time. We appreciate your quantum time with us on the program. God bless you. We appreciate you.
It's a pleasure. God bless you.
Okay, and let's quickly chip in this one from The Guardian. Lawan loses out as Akpabio. Umahi make INEC's a final list. We have that story there, that Lawan loses out as Akpabio. Umahi make INEC's a final list. And you can see the picture of some of the issues as it is. Let's see if we can pick this caller before we continue on the program. Hello. Your name and where you're calling from? Okay. Okay, we lost that one. And we just brought you a report, Chief Okoye Bonobla, before we talk about APC in 60 seconds. At a certain time, we heard that Akpabio's name was amiss, and he just made the list. It looks more like a miracle, if you ask me. How did that happen? Is it the same process you were trying to explain?
Well, I to the best of my knowledge, I think he went to court. Yes, and I think that the ruling was given last week that they should be included in the list. Yes, maybe that is why. Yes, but that is not the end of the matter. I believe that you know, the other side must have gone on appeal.
Okay, they must have gone on appeal.
So, and you know, that court of appeal is not the final say. You can go to the Supreme Court. I mean, so that is, we are yet to see the end of that, you know, scenario.
Okay, let's quickly tidy things up with what happened in PDP.
Yes.
Is it that your candidate, talking about Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress?
Yes.
Someone said that his fingers is pointed at what is happening in PDP.
Well, I don't think so. I told you that they shot themselves because they are not being honest about their rotational arrangements.
Don't also forget that Wike had a meeting with your party candidate in London.
Why not?
A couple of months ago.
Why not? It's smart politics. And you know, Bola Tinubu is very smart. He's a very smart politician. I have a lot of respect for him. And you can see among all the candidates, I think he's one of the most experienced. And he is also an activist. You know, he fought for the Nigerian democracy. He was part of NEDECO that challenged Abacha. You know, and thereafter he came back from exile. He was forced to go on exile, and he came back, and then he struggled, and he became the governor of Lagos State. He had a lot of people who contenders, you know, and the AC, the Alliance of Democracy, was not a tea party. It was a party that was made up of very experienced politicians, as you know, people like Papa Adebanjo, and is it Adebanjo? Adebanjo, yeah. So that time they were still alive, Abraham Adesanya and all that, and he was supposed to get the ticket to run under, you know, Alliance for Democracy. And then when Obasanjo made an incursion, he went to make an incursion to the southwest because people were teasing him. Okay, you are from the southwest, and the southwest did not support, you know, your presidential bid. So in his second, his second time of contesting the presidential election in 2003, he made an onslaught, like a general he is. He made an onslaught, incursion, and he was able to weaken Alliance of Democracy, all the governors lost except Bola Tinubu. So you give it to him. He was able to contain Obasanjo's onslaught, and he emerged, as governor of Lagos State from 2003 to 2007.
But everybody's thought that the Kashim Shettima all-Muslim ticket
I've told you
would have ended, he would have listened to the outcry.
Yeah, well, I don't believe in Muslim, because
we were surprised to see Kashim's name, because we thought with the outcry, Bola Tinubu would have had a change of heart.
Yeah, well, I'm saying that I don't believe in Muslim thing. It's all propaganda. We should be blind to where somebody, the type of God he worships. So I've said that time with that number. But Bola Tinubu has been able to, connect the entire country, okay? Build bridges, alliances with political stakeholders, political gladiators in all the regions of the country. Even the southeast, he's there. You heard what Senator Ojikano was saying,
But he's also being lambasted by the Southeast people.
They are just not making is different from really being realistic. Okay, the dynamics of today favors political dynamics, favors Bola Tinubu, because over the years he has built alliances, bridges across the country, and that is what Obi is lacking. Okay,
we'll talk about bit of on another program, all the same, but we want to say a very big thank you, Chief Okoyo Bonobla, for your time. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
We're looking forward to seeing you on the program. That's the size of the program tonight, but just before we call it a quit, let's see if we can give you a recap of the newspaper headlines. We brought you a report from the Punch earlier that nobody can force Ayu to resign, says presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. And in a Boeing senatorial ticket, I await appeal court judgment. Omai's challenger boasts. Ayu's resignation. Southwest Forum backs Wike, Makinde, others. We'll meet to deliberate in court. We'll meet to deliberate on court ruling, ASU rather, and federal government to leave behind 60.9 trillion debt, other liabilities in 2023. And of course, Akpabio makes a list of candidates for the 2023 election. Lawan loses out as Akpabio Umahi makes INEC's final list. 2023, INEC releases a final list of candidates. Thank you so much, my production assistant, Abayomi Abomire. And of course, all the great guys in the studio tonight. Want to really appreciate you. All the engineers and in fact, all the staff of the BRTV, TSTV. Want to say a very big thank you. Thank you once again, Okoyo Bonobla, for your time.
Thank you so much.
And Fidel Oyeneke for your consistent effort at being here. And to all our listeners, get your TSTV decoder to get all of phones, news, and entertainment. My name is Abasi Odu Idion. You can follow me on your social media space at Apso Baba. Let's do this again tomorrow, God willing. Good night.